Okay, in today's video, we're going to be discussing how to retire early with Yieldmax dividend funds like ULTY, SLTY, and MSTY. Bitcoin is on the critical support average that everyone looks at. Okay, so we'll talk about Bitcoin in relation to ULTY and SLTY. I'm going to give you my full strategy on how I hedge SLTY, what we're going to be doing with that since that just came out today. And we're going to discuss how to also go on offense because SLTY is a hedge. Yieldmax dividends help us earn over $900,000 per year in dividends, as you can see below. I know that's a lot. It's a jump from $700,000 to $900,000. That's because members and I have been doing some buying, and we just sent out some alerts just now on the trades that I have, and we'll discuss that more in the video today. The trades that I made to get my income up over $900,000. We're up 20% for the year, okay? Outperforming all of the indexes. The S&P is up 7, the Nasdaq's up 9, the Russell's only up 1. So we're up 20% living financially free out of our brokerage accounts, okay? We're outperforming all of the indexes using margin. That's the key component of what I do here at this YouTube channel. If you need help doing the same, email me for my e-guides at akintodd48@gmail.com. You can also head to my website, unconventionalwealthideas.com, where we're leading the FIRE movement. You can see all my testimonials there, and you can see more about my e-guides and, again, what we did with Yieldmax recently in New York, okay? So also keep in mind that today I'm going to be sharing with you, my strategies on how to not only hedge with ULTY now because we have SLTY, but again, I'm going to discuss how to go on offense with that, because we don't want to just lose money unnecessarily in our hedges with ULTY and SLTY. So you can see my margin leverage here is 540,000, okay? And my dividends of over 900,000 now will pay that back in less than 1 year. So I'm not worried about my margin leverage, as I always say, because I've negotiated my rates down twice. First of all, most of my members who, I wouldn't say most, I don't know, I can't keep track of that, but many of my members who bought my e-guides did the same thing, because you get my number when you buy my e-guides, and I text you the script whenever you need it. So I'm not worried about my margin rates. Things have been going crazy for me, though, ever since I took the script away. Okay, now you have to be in the members first. I'll get to you first with the members, and then I'll text you your script after. So that's why I haven't had much time lately. That's why I have to raise my prices, which, by the way, will be going up at the end of August. All right, so not worried about my margin leverage once again. And my dividends, again, they pay it back, in less than a year, so why would I be worried if that is going to be paid back and I'll actually be in plus cash, within 6 months? Why would I ever be worried about margin leverage? No, the thing that I'm worried about are my holdings themselves. And that's what y'all should be worried about, okay? No one should be, trying to say I'm not going to, my account's going to blow up if I use margin. That's never happened. I've been doing YouTube for 3 years approximately. I've been investing for 20, and I've been using this margin strategy for around 10 years now. And I never once had an issue except for Corona, which that was because I was in things that were not indexed. Okay, I was in real estate, I was in energy. All of my members know that. And ever since Corona, we've never been close to a margin call, not during 2022, not during the flash crashes last year, or this year. Okay, you can follow all of my videos and see how we outperformed the entire time during volatile times in the market. And again, that was done with margin leverage. So again, I don't want to hear negative comments about that. I mean, you could try, please. If you can share something that we can all learn from, please, by all means. Okay, I would love to become a better investor every day. So if I'm not worried about the margin leverage, once again, then what am I worried about? This doesn't show up on a credit check to banks either. Someone asked me that yesterday in an email. All right, so I'm worried about the holdings themselves. And once again, we saw that ULTY can really crap the bed, okay, when the market is not even falling, okay? We had the Dow Jones green at one point. The S&P was barely down. And many of my members and many people who just follow Yieldmax on YouTube, I'm sure we're down huge. Not as much as my members, of course, because we use Yieldmax, most of us do, within reason. But nonetheless, I have a huge video for y'all and stored today, because we're going to talk about how I hedge, the ratios of what I hedge with ULTY and SLTY, and then how to go on offense. But first, I have to describe to you the fact that Bitcoin is on the all-important 200-day moving average. Okay, we talked about this in my Volume 2 e-guide. No one ever follows my Volume 2 e-guide, but look at this textbook setup. Look at all the gains that I've gotten, with our recent trades. Members in my, trades know that. I mean, all of the moves that I make, even with an ULTY or a Cornerstone, I'm always using the charts. And I don't know if people watch those, read Volume 1 and 2 enough, okay? They are usually more focused on 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. But again, MicroStrategy on the 200-day moving average, look at Bitcoin itself. It's on the 50-day moving average. All right, this is key, okay? Look at how it bounced last time off the 50-day moving average, for example, MicroStrategy. This is Bitcoin. Look at MicroStrategy, how it bounced off of the 200-day moving average. If it breaks it, that's okay. It can hold it as long as it, it holds and it has a snapback relatively soon. So we're right here again on the fence, okay? This is a pivotal time, okay? You're welcome, everyone who's watching this video and, is getting this timely alert, from my YouTube channel. I know members in the chat were already saying, Todd's a hardworking man. I appreciate that. But really what it is I see Bitcoin on the 200-day moving average, and Bitcoin is all important. If Bitcoin breaks, that means risk off happens and sentiment fails in the market, and then you get more extreme drawdowns. Plus, Bitcoin is in the indexes now. MicroStrategy is in the NASDAQ, and Coinbase is in the S&P. So these are issues when it comes to ULTY, because ULTY has Bitcoin in it. All right, so if that's, I don't know if anyone's aware that, ULTY has a lot of Bitcoin and fintech plays within it, but we've discussed this before. Look at the holdings of ULTY, 80% yield or so, and then you see some of these holdings. For example, if we go into the holdings, not all of them are Bitcoin, of course. A lot of them are AI and semiconductor related, which also took a huge fall, okay, on, I think it was Monday. Everyone knows what day I'm talking about, okay? The market was barely down, again, and these holdings were down huge. ULTY was down around 3% at one point. And so we have Hood, we have Galaxy, so beware of the Bitcoin holdings. I have to mention that with ULTY. They have Coinbase, they have BMNR. These are a lot of Bitcoin fintech related names, okay? You have AI in here a lot, which, Palantir, for example, is a good example of that. You have semiconductors, SMCI. These can all fall huge in the event of a down market. All right, so be careful with ULTY. But rest assured, now, of course, we have SLTY, okay, to the rescue. All right, and SLTY, you can see the holdings within SLTY. Here are the top 10 holdings with SLTY, all right, SLTY. Don't know what the yield's going to be. I imagine something similar to ULTY. And it just became public today. We've been waiting for this long-awaited SLTY. And here are the holdings. You can see a CrowdStrike in there, for example. And if you want, we can go look at the specific holdings and see how closely they match ULTY. You can see you have Abercrombie and Fitch, which can definitely move down big in a downturn. Same for BE. Okay, CrowdStrike already had its move down. I already alerted to members with CrowdStrike. We bought that thing, right at the lows. We're already up a quick. It was I think it was Palo Alto actually is what we did it with. We just did a trade with Palo Alto, PALU. I'm not a trader. I just try to maximize index holdings wherever I can, and so that was a nice run. I don't know if that's necessarily something that would be shorted, be a candidate for short, but that's neither here nor there. My members know what I'm talking about with Palo Alto. CrowdStrike's a similar cybersecurity play. But you have Lulu, you have Mara. Okay, so Mara, that's a a Bitcoin holding, obviously. Not too much in Bitcoin, as you can see by the holdings. Okay, BE, Bloom Energy, that's not Bitcoin. I mean, a lot of these are the new, are tied to mega growth themes, going forward. Okay, and have a lot of volatility. Okay, like an Abercrombie and Fitch. But they're not necessarily Bitcoin related, so you might not get that same Bitcoin exposure. You have RH, which is, and you have MicroStrategy right here, at the bottom here. So you still have Mara, MicroStrategy, but not as much as you had, by appearances with ULTY. Okay, we identified in ULTY that there was, you know, BMNR and, you know, a little bit more Bitcoin exposure there. Okay, if you're just now tuning in, RH again, Robinhood, that's a Bitcoin play, obviously. So MicroStrategy, Robinhood, or are they just talking about RH? Because hood would be HOOD. So RH, I was wondering about that. I was like, RH would just be, you know, this consumer cyclical. Okay, when you're talking about RH, okay, that's isn't that like, you know, housing and, you know, tied to housing and stuff like that. So anyway, RH, consumer cyclical, just wanted to see, you know, real estate, right? Okay, so luxury lifestyle brands for the housing market. Okay, so and that's honestly real consumer. That, for example, consumer cyclicals, they haven't had a huge run lately, so I'm not sure why he would be putting this in as a short either, kind of thing, when it's, you know, way off the highs and trending back higher. Okay, this is SLTY that I'm looking at, correct? Yeah, RH. And anyway, you know, so he has strategies in here, I'm sure, with calls and puts, so that he can maybe take advantage of things going up. I just want to get into the general basics of the holdings, which, as you can see here, highly volatile holdings, but not as many holdings as you had in, let's say, ULTY, that were tied to Bitcoin. Okay, please correct me if my eyes are wrong here, chat. But I see Coinbase, I see Galaxy. I didn't see that in SLTY, and you know, the list goes on. Okay, so please correct me again if I'm wrong, chat, with that. All right, so that's very important to know, that SLTY is going to give us protection against ULTY, but will it give us all of that protection in the event of a major Bitcoin meltdown, which some people think will never happen? All right, you look at a chart of Bitcoin. Once again, it looks so strong, you know, but nonetheless, everything is on the fence with Bitcoin. We don't know what's going to happen. So we see that SLTY has slightly different holdings than ULTY. So can it protect us in the event of a downturn? Well, as long as he has a portfolio that's similar to ULTY, I'll take it, because I'm looking for any downside protection that I can get with ULTY. I'm not really trying to be picky. Okay, so the key with ULTY that I noticed first off the bat was ULTY is 50% maintenance, and you know, that's something that we cherish here at this channel, and SLTY is 50% maintenance. So, you know, that's actually a pretty good thing. Even though Cornerstone, this is what we've been anchoring our account in, Cornerstone, 30% maintenance. Okay, because, you know, Cornerstone's been down less than the market lately. You know, it's been down less than ULTY, that's for sure. And it holds steady for us. Cornerstone is the key to anchoring your account. I always stand by this. I don't just preach Yieldmax, okay? I preach a total return, okay, and you know, and a total investment style, which is key with Cornerstone, okay? If you go to, for example, Morningstar, you'll see Cornerstone 4-star fund. All my members know this. The key with Cornerstone is it gives you a 20% dividend dripped at the NAV for 20% gains every month. Okay, so here's the 4-star Cornerstone fund moving upward, left to right on its chart, and here's CRF. It is 18.8, the premium that you see here, which means that you get that every month on top of your 21% dividend. So some years you get 30-40% premiums like we had in 2021, and we get that on top of the 20% dividend with Cornerstone. So that's what anchors our account from Yieldmax and ULTY drops and MSTY drops in case Bitcoin drops. Okay, and you know, the key with Cornerstone is playing it properly around the rights offerings, which we sold here, believe it or not, and we bought here, believe it or not. Okay, all my members can attest to that in my members only videos. We bought there and we sold up high at that exact point because we give you the rights offering announcement at Discord. That's the big thing at my channel, is we use Yieldmax, but we also use this Discord chat room to alert of the Cornerstone rights offering announcement. We have over 2,500 members here in the Discord chat room pursuing the FIRE lifestyle. Here's the announcement only channel. Okay, so we got the N2 filing and then the RO alert which this was the N2 filing drop, okay? If you played Cornerstone properly around the premium thresholds, you would have been fine here because we were boxed here anyway, and I had already lightened up. All of that can be found in my volume 4 e-guide. So back to ULTY, okay? The key with ULTY is that the maintenance is 50%, and so is SLTY, okay? ULTY 50% maintenance right here. And then SLTY is 50% maintenance, okay? Which is so far so good. It started off 30% maintenance today, and then it went to 50%. And then we have MSTY and Bitcoin, which is 100% maintenance. So the secret to retiring early on MSTY, in my opinion, and Bitcoin related plays are by having some money exposed to ULTY, because ULTY can still give you that Bitcoin exposure, but with 50% maintenance, okay? So it's preserving more of your equity. If you need help understanding maintenance, that's in my volume 3 e-guide on how to use margin. So that's the key with ULTY, okay? It's Bitcoin. Bitcoin's on the fence. I already showed you a chart of Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin breaks, so will ULTY, and it may break in a major way. I wish SLTY had more Bitcoin exposure because that's seemingly what ULTY has, but maybe they're making a bet on the fact that Bitcoin has a bright future and they don't want SLTY to get destroyed too bad. So that could be a tailwind for investors if Bitcoin keeps moving higher, because again, we're on this fence for Bitcoin. As you see here, it's on the 50-day moving average, and MSTY was on the 200-day moving average. There's Bitcoin there, and here's MSTY here. Once again, on the 200-day, that was MSTY. We need to do MSTR so that we can see that it is the underlying of MSTY, and you can see that it's on the 200-day moving average. So as this goes, as Bitcoin on the 50 goes, so will the rest of the market, because risk sentiment will be off, okay? And beware of that. Make sure you're hedged with put options like we have. Some of our options were up over 100%. Some of our 0 DTE options were up huge, okay, a couple days ago. If you need help with options, that's in my volume 5 e-guide. And also just make sure you're now hedged with SLTY, okay, ULTY to SLTY. And just to let everyone know, I'm going 4-to-1 on that hedge for now, just to see how things go. We want to see how SLTY trades, of course. We don't want to just go all in and hedge completely ULTY with SLTY. Although there could be a case for that to be made if Bitcoin were to have a surge higher, because again, SLTY had less Bitcoin exposure, it looked like, okay? Again, chat, please correct me if I'm wrong. So, and then we hedge out, and so make sure you're, again, hedging with, you're hedging ULTY with SLTY. I'm going 4-to-1. Make sure you have your MSTY and winter hedges, okay? I have 2-to-1 MSTY and winter hedges. And make sure you're anchored with Cornerstone and other indexed funds, so that you don't feel the full blow of a market downturn in something like Bitcoin that can fall much larger and much larger amounts than the index, especially MicroStrategy, which is levered to Bitcoin. It's not only Bitcoin exposure, it's leveraged Bitcoin exposure, because they use debt on their balance sheet to buy more Bitcoin, and that can really affect the performance of ULTY, all right? So keep all that in mind, okay? If you need more help doing what I'm doing, outperforming the markets, we're earning over 900,000 here in dividends, and we're outperforming the market in the process. I mean, today we were down 15,000. Now we're down 0.52, okay, with over $400,000 of margin leverage. 0.52 right here. And if you look above, the Nasdaq's down 0.43. So we're going to be down money. That's not the question. The question is, will we ebb and flow with the market? We don't want to just ebb and flow with Bitcoin and, leverage. We want to ebb and flow with the market. We want to go down with the market. 0.52 with margin leverage is pretty good considering the Nasdaq's down 0.43. And if you factor back in my margin leverage, we'd be down something more like 0.62, which again is not bad considering the Nasdaq's down 0.43. And at the end of the day, usually things catch up for me because my options catch up for me. And a lot of times the options, lower volatility by the end of the day, and because they're leaps, okay, the way I sell options, they lower my margin by about 50K and lower my volatility. They're the least risky way to play Bitcoin, in my opinion. That's how I play BitX, for example, through these sold puts like Warren Buffett. If you need more help selling options like I do, that's in volume 6. All right, so also one more thing to keep in mind is, if you have other leverage vehicles on, try to keep those thresholds in place, okay? Don't go, in volume 7, we talk about, my thresholds for keeping leveraged longs on with short longs, the leverage shorts, okay? Triple longs, triple shorts. Make sure your ratios and your hedges are rebalanced, okay, at these levels. Okay, try to rebalance everything that you can, and take your profits at these market highs, right? I'm not saying run for the hills. I'm saying just rebalance. Okay, we've used a lot of the proceeds that we've taken from rebalancing these various funds that have been working lately. You can see in my members' videos, and we're buying other funds, even like an ULTY yesterday or day before that that have been pulling back. We're trimming the rips, buying the dips of all these other funds that are pulling back now. MSTY we've been adding to a bunch lately, but keep that in mind. It takes a total approach. Watch your leverage. Make sure you've brought your puts back up a little bit. You repurchase your puts. Okay, like we did this month. We saw that in Monday's video. All right, just make sure you're staying safe here. You keep Bitcoin at 3 to 5% of your account, because Bitcoin, that's what professionals say to use. Maybe 10% max, which is what I use. Just be careful. We're on the fence. Okay. All eyes are on this 200-day moving average for MicroStrategy and Bitcoin being on the 50. All right. And so as that goes, and as Bitcoin goes, as MicroStrategy goes, so will MSTY, and then so will ULTY. So that's why we have SLTY. But still keep the rest of your portfolio in mind as well, as all I'm trying to say. All right, let me get into the chat, see if I'm missing anyone. Okay, I'll get to all of your questions. Let me get to the testimonials here. Okay, so chat, it's so good to see y'all. I know we did a couple members videos today, and I appreciate y'all being with me, during these more volatile times. Okay, we're still outperforming. Things are great. I'm excited about these times. That's why I wanted to make a video. But there's a lot of work to do right now, because the market is at a key pivotal point. And so I want to stress this to all of my viewers who have been so loyal to me over the years now. Again, hey, Bell War. And by the way, if I didn't say it already, email me for my e-guides at akintosh48@gmail.com, or head to my website, Unconventional Wealth Ideas. If you have more questions, or if you need anything at all from me, okay? So here we go. You can find all of my stuff there on my website. Okay. Once again, Bell War, Justin, good to see you. Hey, Sigma, LRS, Sniper, Rush, absolutely. LRS heading to work. You'll miss the live. Take my energy, Todd. Not too much, though. Still got to get through work. Thank you, LRS. I appreciate that. I needed it. Although this 200-day moving average with Bitcoin is really charging me up, okay? Because it's not Bitcoin I care about. I'm a dividend investor that goes with the indexes and Cornerstone primarily. It's the fact that if Bitcoin breaks the 200, then risk sentiment will be off, and then tech, like the Nasdaq, will fall, which then will bring down the S&P, since the S&P is tied so much to tech. Yeah, Johnny, ULTY was down a lot lately, and that's why you have to be aware of something like ULTY. Marcos and I did videos, and I did videos, explaining the risks of ULTY and Yieldmax, because they have a lot of speculative holdings and Bitcoin related names in them. Mark, taking a beating on NAV, but still building on my position in ULTY. Yes, Mark, factor back in dividends as well. Okay. That's what I do, at least. Okay. Now I can see the chat a little better. Hey, Ricardo. Hey, Jeremy. Got to stay focused on the prize. Sniper, when things are down, it's an opportunity. This little blip is nothing. Yeah, I think Michael Saylor would agree with you, Sniper. I think Tom Lee would agree. If you're a Bitcoin fan, this is the time to buy. However, it could break and we could go lower. Not saying it will happen. The odds of that are less likely looking by the chart. But still, we got to be ready with SLTY and our put options and our MSTY hedges. And we have to lighten up on our triples. Just keeping those ratios intact, like I was saying. And from long to short. And, those sold options that we have, those are really going to help us in the event of a downturn. They're going to stabilize the account. Justin, my little soda pop, got to drink every day. Yeah. Thank you, Justin. Exactly. Me too. This is all, it's honestly addictive for me, and the market's, just a never ending thing. And I'm always just so energized by it, and I can't wait to share it with y'all. Hey, Eric, Tom, hey there, Fig Tart, Snog, Hulkman, Frosty, Vintage, Jetta, Jay, Frosty and Jetta are my admin. Have to say hey to y'all every time. Thanks to my admin at Discord for making the experience so enjoyable for everyone else. Hey, Jay. Hey, Johnny. Larry, should I own both CRM and CLM? CRF and CLM. My CLM is performing much better. Yeah, but sometimes, because value's been doing better, Larry, and we've been pointing that out in the members videos. The Dow has been, doing much better. The Dow was green and Bitcoin was down the other day. And so CLM is more value, CRF is growth, but over time, the premiums in CRF are usually more. You have to have both, because if you have both, then it lowers your maintenance, okay? And that lowers, because it lowered your concentration risk. And again, if you need help understanding maintenance and margin and equity, that's in volume 3. Justin, yes, both Cornerstone funds, exactly. Justin, Todd's a hardworking man. Man gave up not working to work hard for all of us. Exactly, Justin. I mean, I want to make sure, I work hard to make sure that I don't blow up my account and I keep outperforming, because I really want to outperform. And then that really energizes me, so I make videos about it because I have to share it with someone. People in the world don't seem to care about it. They're not interested in investing and getting ahead in life, sadly, But y'all are interested, so I'm so excited to share it with y'all. And then since y'all became, part of the community with me, Justin, y'all are like my family, and I can't leave y'all behind, okay? I have to make sure y'all are all okay on this pivotal point with, Bitcoin and MicroStrategy being on the 200-day moving average. Hey, Kaika, aloha. Yeah, exactly. Perfect timing, I thought, as well, Ikaika. Mahalo to you. Johnny, sea of red lately. Yes, it has been. But you expect that with the market. It's just about, are you going with the indexes? Okay, sounds good to me. Thank you, Rush. Sorry, Mattias. Swede, RH, high-end furniture, right, and that's in SLTY. Rush, thank you for that help. Okay, Jared, hey there. Good to see you. Thank you, Swede. Hey, Marvin. Hey, Joe. Thank y'all. Thank y'all so much. Sorry about that. Thank you so much, Rush. Paul, hello again. Thank you. Hey, thanks for being here so much, my members, okay? Paul, I know you're in a beautiful place right now, and, you could just be on vacation, but you're here with me. Thank you so much, Paul. Okay, Major, great to see you too, Major. Johnny, which Cornerstone ETF? CRF and CLM. Okay, Major Sam, audio cut out. Nope, sounds good now. Okay, thank you so much. Oh, gosh. Gene, okay? Both ULTY and SLTY will face erosion over time, which means I could end up losing money on both ETFs. They will both erode, Gene. What we want is daily correlation, all right? Correlation. So when the market's falling, I'm correlating. Okay, that was, one of the last secrets that I made, that we did a video on. It's about correlation day to day, all right? And if you just live with the indexes day to day, over time, you're going to outperform with the indexes when you're using margins. So you have to just correlate. So this just helps with correlation, Gene. And then I promise, as long as the USA stays where it's at and it's standing in the world, then the S&P should stay at 7 to 10% average per year, which over time will make you able to retire. Okay, put it that way. We're just trying to accelerate the retirement process here with margin and some of these other funds like Cornerstone, because you play Cornerstone properly around the rights offerings, and that's how you level up your account between market ups and downs. Is the rights offering does that for you, tells you when to buy, when to sell. That's one way I do it. Use margin, that's another way I do it. Sell the options to get more income. Use the proceeds to invest elsewhere like ULTY. Get more dividends from ULTY. Snowball your account with dividends. Pay down your margin faster. Now you have just this machine it's like a well-oiled machine. And also, you're doing this all out of your brokerage. You can live free out of it because, it all acts as a checking account. I can swipe my card and do whatever I want, as I always say. Okay, and then my dividends pay that back at the end of the month. End of the week, really. Thanks for upgrading, Theo. Thank you so much, Theo. I know we were just speaking, I think it was through email, and so I really appreciate you joining the portfolio trades. Thank you so much. I know you're already in the community, but thank you for upgrading. Text me after this your number one more time, and I'll enter you into the SMS trades. All those SMS alerts and YouTube services here under my memberships are separate from my e-guides. Most members buy my e-guides. They buy a bundle. Okay, any bundle, which gives you my number in Discord for life, okay? Then, after that, if you want to apply what you've learned, you follow me on YouTube, okay? You can follow me on YouTube now if you want, follow my portfolio now, but I would suggest not doing that because you might be lost. You buy the e-guides first, then you head over to the memberships and you upgrade to whatever tier you like, okay? Some people just want the Cornerstone rights offering announcement alert. That's the $20 a month, okay? I don't know where all the tiers are here, but you can see all the tiers, okay? There's, something for everyone in those tiers. Okay. So, and I know I have quite a few tiers there, but they were all requested by members. Some just wanted the 20 a month. Some just wanted my monthly videos. Some just wanted my weekly videos. Some wanted all of my trades between weekly videos. Okay, so all those options are there. Some just want to text me. Some people just want to text me and they don't want to take up my time and call. So there's that option there. You can text me. There's different options, different strokes for different folks, okay? So that was for my members. I wish I could just make it 3 choices or so, but everyone has those requests. Trying to accommodate everyone as usual. Boo to you. When the market crashes and Yieldmax stops paying dividends, what stops panic selling at NAV down to 0? I guess that's, okay, boo to you. All right. Well, so you have to watch the underlying for Yieldmax, okay? Not Yieldmax, the wrapper, all right? So I've been pleasantly surprised by Yieldmax drawdowns. Okay, look at, for example, YMAX. The drawdown was similar to the market. And then we had a nice bounce back. We've done the math here. It's about 20%. And then look at the returns since inception. Boo to you. You'll see that, for example, YMAX or MSTY even, since inception, since I have the page pulled up, it's up 332% since inception. So that's what I look at. I always look at the math first, Boo. And, I hope that you do the same, okay? Let me get the chat pulled up again. Just get the testimonials going just so y'all can see that. Okay. All right. And Paul, I don't know if you're on vacation, by the way. I see your comment right there, by the way, Paul. Just want to say, maybe you're not on vacation. Maybe you're just in that beautiful place of Mexico City, and you could be just there enjoying that instead of watching me. I didn't mean to say vacation, Paul. So, yeah, that's neither here nor there. I just saw your comment. I remember that from today's mirror video, and I just saw your testimonial here. Thanks, as always, for all your support, Paul. Martian, BTC winter 2026, probably lighter, though, than previous cycles. Good point, Martian. A lot of people have been saying, August is going to be the time for the market to fall, or, this BTC winter. But if everyone could just peg something by a calendar, making money would be so easy, but that's just my opinion. Johnny, if you're worried about market crashes, only put in what you can afford to lose and keep cash to buy the dip. Great point, Johnny. Justin, risk diversity is the key. Market indexes will never go to absolute zero. Agreed, Justin. I don't know who would ever say such a thing. They just think maybe Yieldmax would go to zero, but that's, again, a lot of people think that, and they could just have a stock split, not even changing the dividend. It would be purely cosmetic. Jay has said it himself. Master, how low ULTY NAV erosion happens? I'm not sure about your question, but yes, it erodes just like everything with dividends. They erode, but factor back in dividends for your total returns. Hey, SI Car Guy, good to see you. Brandon, and you've been with me since the beginning, SI. Brandon, ULTY keeps paying 10 per share, even though the price has dropped 10%. Even better ROI, Brandon. Great comment, Brandon. Thank you for that. Hey, Tiger. Boo. Yeah, some of the Yieldmax funds could go down to zero. I'm not talking about the regular stocks. Boo, all they have to do is do a reverse split, okay? So ULTY to be a reverse split like Tesla, maybe. Master, I know he's scared of reverse splits because it hurts the assets under management. He thinks people, I guess, are misinformed on splits, and that deters people from bringing in money. But it would make me bring in more money, and I think more members with like-minded approaches like me would do the same. Hey, Daniel, what's up? Glad you can make it again. That's a lot of videos today, I know, but just so much is happening right now. You have SLTY coming out. You have Bitcoin on the 200-day moving average. Fig Tart, long calls on SQ or short puts on TQ. For some reason, I think it does not matter. Yeah, Fig Tart, I do a little bit of both. I sell puts on the triples, just like YieldBoost does. T-Mac, hey, Todd, second live, practically irregular. Yeah, hey, glad you can make it, T-Mac. There's a glare in my screen I can't see. Justin, that was a K-pop Demon Hunters reference. Oh, okay, I gotcha. Yeah, those guys are something else. I'll just say that, Justin. Hey, Ange. Thanks, Todd. Great info. You're welcome. Tiger, what's up? Let's go ULTY YMAX cash flowing. By the time I save up more distributions, we'll redeploy back into these at lower prices next month or so. Yep, drip, and you can now drip on the dips. Okay, one thing I forgot to even mention, okay, how to go on offense. Okay, I can't believe I forgot that. I'm looking at my notes. I'm just looking right at my notes, and I forgot this. So thanks for staying with me, everyone. How we're going on offense, I sent this out in SMS to members, is through OARC, because OARC, it has similar Bitcoin, similar growth themes as Bitcoin. But OARC, has 30% maintenance. So I bought some SLTY. I don't want to lose completely in this hedge to SLTY in case we move higher. So ULTY will win because I have a 4-to-1 strangle. But I also have OARC. I added some more to the fold. That's how I got my income up over 900,000. If members are watching, they had to watch this whole video. Sorry about that. But yeah, because I added more OARC, and that was 30% maintenance with a huge yield, that got my income up to over 900,000. And that's how I'm playing Bitcoin on the way back up. Should we bounce off this fence that MicroStrategy is on? Okay, if we go higher, OARC's a great way to play it. If we go lower, well, then OARC has lower maintenance than, let's say, a YMAX, so it's at least preserving a lot of my equity. But it does have high beta, so be aware of that. Yieldmax rises not by the amount of the stock price, but falls generally by the amount of the stock price. So keep that in mind. Okay, so always watch your allocations in Bitcoin like we have. So Tiger, I hope you appreciated that, by the way. You're dripping on dips with ULTY YMAX. I appreciate that. Like, that's what we say to do. And also, I've been rebalancing OARC on the dip to get more exposure to the upside with ULTY and YMAX. All right, so you'll have to stay through the whole video sometimes. I apologize, but hopefully there's always a gem somewhere, something in here for you to appreciate and benefit from. Okay, Rush, your SMS service is perfection. Thank you for providing that. You're welcome, Rush. There's a glare in my screen. I can't see. Thank you, Rush. I really appreciate you saying that. All right, I put a lot of time and effort into those SMS texts. Martian, anyone else looking forward to WPay, Roundhill? Yeah, we're going to talk about these weekly payers, at Roundhill soon. Okay, Martian? And I hope I'm saying that. Martian, sorry about that. I'm just going to say Prince from here on out. Stefan, hey, Todd, just want to let you know I've negotiated my rates down to 6% for the second time this year using your script. Appreciate you. Hey, thanks, Stefan. Wow, that is great. I'm so happy for you, Stefan. That's it's going to be huge for you, okay? You're going to get, your rates down, which then gives you a bigger spread between what you're earning in dividends and what you're charged in interest. So I'm so proud of you, Stefan. I'm glad that script was able to work for you. Thanks for posting that comment. Appreciate you, Stefan. Greg, because it's probably thousands of members we've helped, honestly, okay? At least, hundreds here for the script alone, and then thousands that are in our Discord chat room. So if, things have been working out well for you, say so in the comment. Leave a little comment in the chat, please, if y'all don't mind. And I know y'all have already commented. That's what these testimonials are here. Okay, so don't worry about it, members. I know y'all always have my back. Rush, Greg, first of all, I think we could all use some SLTY right now. Just buy some CRF and CLM. Sleep well at night. Agreed, Greg. Sorry if it's getting loud in the background. The gardening people here. Rush, if you got 50K in options, what would you tell someone with a much smaller account? Scale their options proportionally with you? Exactly, Rush. Maybe try 5,000 in options. Maybe try just one or two. Pick you a really good one of those sold puts and go with that. And then bolt on the rest as you grow, Rush. Justin, Jeremy, boo to you. Don't go to zero unless the underlying completely disappears, goes out of business. Their options funds. Right. Gosh, this chat is getting it's quite lengthy here. And there's a glare at my screen. Okay. Sniper, the other thing most don't understand about Yieldmax is a lot of distribution is return of capital, so it's not truly eroding. If you bought a finite amount of a fund and held it, your cost would go to zero. Right, and you're getting tax benefits off that. Great point, Sniper. Rush, concerning YouTube tiers, how much for a 1v1 basketball game? That's for free, my friend. Anytime somebody wants to play some basketball, those lessons are for free. Once again, we all go to school. When it comes to this investing stuff, and time is money. But when it comes to basketball, that's what I love to do. All right, and those lessons are always free. Jeremy, exactly, Sniper. A lot of folks, and if you're coming to town soon, Rush, maybe we can play, because if I'm speaking to the right person, I believe that you'll be in town soon. Let's try to make that happen. Jeremy, exactly, Sniper. A lot of folks don't truly understand that, I feel. Most of them have 70% return of capital. Yes, and that's just great when it comes to tax time, as long as you don't sell. Greg, someone had a big-time margin call in the after hours on Tuesday. Oh, yeah, I can imagine, for ULTY. Yeah, that's why you have to be careful with ULTY. Thankfully, the maintenance is such to where it's not a huge problem for us, even if that were to change. That's why you have to always watch your position sizes. America, because that's the other thing that could trigger a margin call. So we're always, ready for. We never over concentrate on one thing, and we always watch our position sizes to avoid margin calls. America, splits lower the number of shares you'll receive. Dividend payment for Jay said no more. Yeah, he doesn't like reverse splits, but it doesn't matter if they lower your number of shares. The yield changes in combination with that. So that's not why he's not doing it, from what I understand, because he said that there's no change to your actual dividend payout. America, it's because you get less AUM that way. It deters people, and I think that was why he doesn't want to do more reverse splits. Joe, if split on ULTY and dividend stays about 10 per week, in essence, it's half the dividend it used to be. That's not true, Joe. Anyone just go Google reverse split, okay? Google, reverse split, okay? Reverse split definition, okay? And here we have it. It's let's go to Investopedia, and you can see here, reverse split, it does not directly impact a company's value, okay? Only the price, okay? So it's just cosmetic, okay? And if you have dividends, it's the same thing, okay? So I just hope everyone's aware of that, and, you can just spell the myth right here, right now. Everyone could just Google that, okay? And now, thankfully, I can stop yelling, because hopefully the gardening guy has left. Okay, so what do you think about that, Joe? Okay, just definition of reverse split. Joel, hey, Todd, glad to be here. Thanks for all of your input. Of course, Joel, glad you could be here with me. Al-Tafi, should I sell my QQY? You know what I'm doing with that in my members, okay? You can follow my members-only video. Okay. And, gosh, he's just right there with the lawnmower. And check out, my strategy with Defiance funds. Al-Tafi, Johnny MC, should I stop buying more ULTY and wait until dividends put me on a profit? That's not how I do it personally, Johnny, okay? But follow my members' videos if you have more questions. Al-Tafi, should I sell and I don't give advice. None of this is advice. I don't give any advice. I just share what works with me. Okay. Let me just get back to testimonials. Okay. Boston, about 10,000 shares of ULTY, down to 409 average. Okay, Boston. Rush, do you automatically drip any funds aside from Cornerstone? No, I only drip Cornerstone, Rush, because Cornerstone has the advantage at the NAV. You get the free money every month. Nothing else gives you that, so I don't drip anything. I always drip those on dips instead. Good question, Rush. Oh, gosh. Michael, anyone else stacking? Okay, Boston, Fast Lane. The way you do things is a full-time job, and at this point, that's the last thing I want to do now that I'm retired. Thank you, Fast Lane. Yeah, the full-time job is just something that kind of enrages me daily. And, I take TJ to school now, and I get very upset because that's all they preach is get your education, get your job, and stay broke until you retire. And 50% of people are paycheck to paycheck. 80% of people are unfulfilled, so that I really resent school and work. Although I do think that there is a place for them in society. Obviously, we all need to be educated. We all need to have a job to get started. But then once you're able to wean yourself off a W-2 paycheck with dividends, to me, it's just the best of both worlds. You get a job to power you up, keep you out of margin calls, especially pay for medical bills, whatever. And then your dividends and your paycheck help grow you much faster. And if you use some margin, well, then you grow even faster. That's how all the greats got ahead that I know of. They use debt. Okay, CM, how do you and everyone feel about dips on ULTY? Because this is only a small pullback. Imagine a correction. We'd all be broke. I feel the same way, CM. That's why I've been alerting all members, okay? We got the SLTY hedge that came out today. Hedge your MSTY with winter and buy put options, which I stress all day, okay? I rebalance my puts, monthly, and, in order to use margin, I think puts are helpful. You don't have to use puts, but they certainly help in the event of a crash, okay? They can be up thousands of %. Okay, America, Roundhill is nice on the upside, no downside protection. That said, I'm buying thousands of TSYY. Yeah, you have Granite shares, and you have Roundhill. Izzy, CLM or CRF? On drip all the way. I agree with you, Izzy. I used to have much more of Cornerstone, but had to make sure that, I'm staying well diversified. I'm staying diversified. Gosh, it's just so much better now that the lawnmower guy is gone. Oh my gosh. I've been doing a lot of videos. I hate talking over that. And I had a couple client calls today. Cornerstone is the way, and I would have more in it if we didn't have Yieldmax these days. Okay, put it that way. Now there's a good balance of both. Landon, what are your thoughts on USOY, high yield with Defiance? Definitely own some, Landon, for energy exposure, as you've seen in the portfolio. It's one of those top 50 holdings of mine. Fast lane, my ETF investments are mostly losing money at this point, including ULTY, COLI, and MicroStrategy. Yeah, probably if you look at the chart, they've been down, fast lane. So, keep that in mind. Factor in dividends for X-day drops, but also look at the underlyings. If they're dropping, so will your investment performance. Make sure you buy the dips at the right times on the 200-day moving averages if you're a long-term investor, like I was discussing today at the beginning of the video. Carva Jam, let's stack. I think that's Alex Carl, one of my college buddies. Good to see you, Alex. Joe, any ETA on the script for us members? Yes, Joe. If you are a 50 member or a 35 member, if you are a 50 member or a 35 member, I'm getting to y'all first. Then I'll get to the 20-month members. Then after I get to all the members, Joe, then I'll get to everyone else who's not a member. And I see that you're a member. So if you're a 35 and up, okay, just text me, Joe, and I've got you covered. Dewey, and sorry, if you've already texted me, I had hundreds of texts that 1 week, so it took me a while to get to all of those. Dewey, would you buy SLTY? That's why one day I have to take my number away, okay? And that's why we're raising prices at the end of the month. I'm truly exhausted. Dewey, would you buy SLTY now or wait? I've already bought some. I already discussed, we raised it up to, 4-to-1 so far. Okay. Okay, Dewey. Michael, I'm new to this channel. Is the theory here dividend stacking? Again, I don't use that term, okay? Sometimes I say snowball, but yeah, I'm using my margin and my income to just get as much income as I can to live free from 9 to 5. That qualifies me for a job. That qualifies me for loans away from a job, okay? Or you can use a job to qualify for loans. I use my dividends to qualify for loans, okay? I try not to go back to a job, okay, ever again. That's like my vendetta. I have a vendetta when it comes to working again and giving my time to the man. All right. So anyway, don't get me started. Michael, I'm new to this channel. Is the theory here dividend stack? I don't know who keeps saying that. All right. Okay. And I'm sorry if I reread that. I apologize. HOOW is bleeding. Yes, it is. Okay. Sorry. Let me get out of the weeds here on these comments. I think many are panicking about Powell's speech tomorrow and is causing market volatility. Absolutely, Justin. I know Mike's talking about that. He mentioned that in his video. By the way, my buddy Mike, I was telling you about him. He has 3 reasons why he thinks Bitcoin's on the fence. Just check out his video if you get a chance. I think his channel again is like, he needs to text me. Where's his I think his channel is again like only gains or something like that. Don't know. So gosh, what is your channel name, Mike? What is your channel name? Okay. Mark, ditto on the script. I negotiated my margin interest rate down to 5.45% of Fidelity. Way to go, Mark. That is fantastic. Excellent, Mark. I'm glad that script was able to help you. HOY is W is bleeding. Yeah, you got to keep stuff like that small. Okay. Justin, yeah, people panicking about about Powell's speech. Okay, yeah. Never panic, always use it as a time to buy. Never fight the Fed, as they say. But I agree with you, Justin. Michael Stewart, psychological. That's all splits are. That and liquidity. And I said Michael Stewart. Gosh, I don't know. There's partly a glare on my screen, so it's hard to see. But Michael Ha X. Okay, we'll just call you Michael. All right. Defense. Why I can't buy SLTY? I don't know, Defense. Paul, noticed that my interest rate was lowered to 6.5 without my asking. I only lowered it once from 9 months ago from 12 to 7. Then the Fed lowered? Exactly. Once the Fed cuts rates, then your margin rates fall even more, Paul, in tandem. It's a beautiful thing. Advisability. What made you choose E-Trade over other brokers? The special NAV drip for Cornerstone advisability. The only brokers that I know of that have that with decent maintenance is Fidelity and Schwab. Jonathan, homeschool, brother, I know. Might be coming soon, Jonathan, definitely. SI, hit the like button, everyone. Yeah, everyone, if you're liking this video, please hit like or subscribe, okay? I really would appreciate that. Should push the video out to more people. This is a big time for Bitcoin on the 200-day moving average, so everyone be aware of that and try to spread the word as much as you can. Maureen, hi, the algo recommended you, and I just finished how to get started on margin. Thank you, Maureen. All right, welcome. Let me know if you need anything, Maureen. Rush, time to double your prices and take away the phone number. Can't be having you burnt out. Thank you, Rush. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's I was burnt out there last week. I've gotten a little bit ahead of that, but still crazy swamped all the time, as you can imagine. America, TSYY paying 180. I've almost got my initial investment back. Yeah, I love some TSYY, America. 180% yield with the put protection. What's not to like? Free Fire, what's up, Todd? Do I need a text for a script or will you send automatically? Yeah, text me, Free Fire. If you're a 20, I said I'd get to the 20, but I'm getting a lot of people joining 35 and 50 lately. So if you're 35 or 50, text me, Free Fire, and then I'll get to 20s after that. That's just how it's the only way I can work through everyone and keep it organized. Hey, Joe, you will give the script to us 10 members at some point on the video, correct? I think you mentioned that. Thanks. Yes, Joe, at some point. I will, Joe. Okay? Just hang in there. I'm getting a lot of upgrades once I get to all of them, and then the 20s, then the 10s. Defense. So I'm alone, whom SLTY doesn't appear, and it's not normal, I guess. Yeah, see if your broker has SLTY, Defense. Tony, aloha, Todd. First time watching live. Hey, aloha, Tony. Glad you can make it today. Big time in the market as far as Bitcoin goes and risk sentiment goes. Maureen, did you make a video on negotiating a lower rate? No, I did not. I have a script. When you buy my guides, I send you the script. But I'm getting to members first, okay? Bobby, JP Morgan has a special drip for Cornerstone, right? Okay, JP Morgan, I have heard that. We have a brokerage specifics channel here at Discord, and I think they mentioned that. Okay, you can see all the brokerages who have the special drip for Cornerstone and who have the lowest maintenance, et cetera, here in the brokerage specifics channel or on all things margin related. Okay. Okay. So let's get back to the chat. Gosh, I can't see two different screens. Same. They're both black. Bobby, JP Morgan, that's correct. Good information, Bobby. Go girl. I'm afraid to go into margin. Have 100K account, all in stocks, 100K left for the dip. Where do I find classes? I don't know. Go girl. Okay. No one had classes. That's why I started my channel, because no one was talking about margin, living out of a brokerage account like I was. So call me if you need more help. Okay. Or check out my e-guides. Again, you can email me for my e-guides at aikentod48@gmail.com. We're outperforming all the indexes, living financially free out of our brokerage accounts using margin. We're up 20%. The S&P is only up 7%. We also outperform during a down market. Okay, go check out my past videos. All right, you can, again, email me or head to my website, Unconventional Wealth Ideas, where you can learn more about my e-guides and the FIRE movement here that we have not started, but we've taken the FIRE movement and made it our own, okay? And I think we're leading the FIRE movement. This is the best Discord chat room, the best YouTube community in the world, in my opinion, whether it comes to finance or not. Because what service is better than finance, okay? And making your life better financially and having more time. Those are the two most important things in life, in my opinion. And, you know, of course, health is the most important, but then what's next? Finance and time, okay? Money and time. And we're all about that here at my channel, trying to get the most out of life, okay? The most money and time that we can get within reason, okay? Without using too much risk, just a little bit of margin, just a little bit of sold options, and these newer Yieldmax funds, SLTY, ULTY, and MSTY, to get high yield dividends that help pay our margin down even faster and actually lower our risk even more, despite the fact that we're using margin, which is quote unquote risky. A lot of it is hedge, a lot of it is short income. I use put options, et cetera, et cetera. You can see all about that in volume 5. But our margin actually lowers the risk to our account and increases our performance at the same time, because our dividends are so large, they pay down the margin so fast that the margin risk is gone. That just then increases our performance in our account, lowering our risk because it lowers our break even faster. If you have ULTY here in your cash account and then use more on margin, you're going to increase your break even faster as you double your returns with the same amount of equity. Okay, you're using the same fund, using your equity underneath it to maximize your returns. Just do it safely. We talk all about that in volume 3 and the rest of my e-guides. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video, everyone. It was quite long as we got into the chat, but the chat had many beneficial things in there, including how I went on offense with ULTY as well, which I forgot in the video. So check the entire video out if you missed it, okay? And I'll see y'all on the next one, okay? All these other questions, I'll get to them later. All right, I love all of my members so much. All right, call me if you need anything. Make sure you hit like on the video if you like this and you want more videos promoted to you, okay? Talk to you soon. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye. You're welcome, SI. Of course, Mike.